everyone. I, Megha Ahuja, welcome you all to Sashakt Dialogues, an attempt by Sashakt-The Ovarian Cancer Foundation to break the silence and start meaningful conversations to combat unjustified cancer-related stigmas. Despite living in the 21st century and advances in medical technology, cancer patients and their families have to endure immense pain due to various perceived, experienced, and internalized stigmas associated with cancer. It's high time to change perspectives for a positive change. So, for this special episode of Sashakt Dialogues, in which we are going to discuss the stigma cancer is a death sentence, we have two fantastic guests with us today. Poonam Jha, model, MC, and driven sales professional in IT and Telecom sector, and Dr. Monisha Gupta, senior oncologist, Max Super Speciality Hospital, Shalimar Bagh. Starting with you, Poonam, what did you experience when you first got to know about your cancer diagnosis?
So, Megha, of course, this is not going to be a very, a news where you accept it. It's generally the first reaction. It's not about me, but with everybody is the denial that we have that, why me and how did this actually, how did I attract this since I have, I'm meeting the major parameters of a healthy lifestyle that we call, then why me? So the initial reaction was, of course, denial. And but then this phase fortunately ended soon for me because being positive or optimistic about the entire diagnosis was the only thing that I had as a choice. So of course the initial was denial, but then eventually I had to make up my mind to accept the facts and go ahead with whatever my doctors and my caregivers suggested, whatever is the course of the treatment and stuff.
Did you ever feel that it is like your life has ended, or like this is what, like death is what is the ultimate thing that is going to, or people around you made you feel it?
Yes, unfortunately, Megha, generally, I mean, I'm fortunate that I am, somebody, a person who's apparently positive for, the major outlooks in my life. And because, I've been into different domains of life, been doing a lot of things, So, unfortunately, in my case, or fortunately, it was not myself who actually doubted it, because cancer is a very, it is a taboo, especially when you talk about Indian society, where people do not want to talk about it very openly, or do not even want to offer help, or in a positive way that they discuss it. Unfortunate for that part. But it is more of it a responsibility of people around us, like our friends or our doctors, or the entire organic environment that we have around us. They definitely did impact me somewhere negatively, where I was just a 25-year-old, 25-year-old individual, and it was very young for me to, get into a news factor like this. And yes, I did receive a lot of perspectives, you may say, or a lot of predictions. You may say as that this is eventually going to end up with death, and there is nothing that we can do anything to save you, or the survival chances really remains very bleak. So yes, for my case, I was not deterred by it. And that's the only message that I have always told people, that eventually it's about you yourself, and how you decide that predictions like this which do not empower you, you should not believe them. So yes, that's the only message.
So glad that you held on to hope and overcame all the problems that you faced. Coming to you, Dr. Monisha, what do you think are the root causes of cancer being considered as a death sentence?
Yeah, Megha, yes. In our society, cancer is still considered like a death sentence. It is not just considered like any other disease. Like if I just take an example of COVID. COVID is an acute illness. It has been there with us since last maybe 1 year or 1.5 year. But since somebody is diagnosed with COVID, they feel that they are going to die. They start taking all the precautions right from the day zero. Maybe sometimes the over cure or the over precautions, because we all are seeing the patients dying because of COVID. So it is being like a death sentence in all of our heads. So if I come to cancer, yes, as Poonam has said, it's our society's mindset, our people's mindset, because many of them have seen some cases in their families being succumb to this disease, like like maybe the 20 years back or the 30 years back, when the treatment for this disease, the cancer, is not very good. There were no recent advances in the management of cancer. So those kind of stories in somebody's family, they keep on percolating down the family. If somebody's nanny has expired because of cancer, they think that they are not going to survive it. But today's time is not like that. So it's first of all the fear of unknown, because people don't have the knowledge of cancer, they feel that it's a death sentence. Second are maybe the social taboo or the social circle, because each one of us have got some stories of some cancer patients in their family or near ones or the social circles, and they keep on percolating those stories to your head. Third is your lack of awareness about the recent developments in the cancer care, be it the radical surgeries, which we are able to do in today's time with all the latest technologies and all the recent good trainings of our doctors. Earlier, they used to be the Tata hospital in the entire country where cancer surgeries were used to be done. Now, with each and with proper advancement, like placement of more and more hospitals and less advances, robotics, laparoscopies, every city have got some state of the art hospitals where such kind of surgeries are being carried off, which not only cure your cancers, but maybe in some cases it maintains your quality of life also. Like we are doing fertility preserving surgeries for young girls who are being diagnosed with cancer, not just with the perspective of curing their cancers, but also for maintaining their fertility for the future life. So all these advances are there which people are not aware of. It is lack of awareness also. Third thing is the ignorance. Ignorance. They said that each one of us, maybe the medicos or the oncologists, even the cancer doctors also, we are ignorant of the fact that it is the regular health checkups which are like the most important factor for cancer, be it the prevention of the cancer, be it the treatment for the cancer. None of us, even in the family of cancer survivors, none of the other family members go for their regular health checkups. That is the most factor, because early detection leads to the complete cure with the normal life ahead. But having said that, even the advanced stages, the late stages, stage 3 and 4, in with the recent developments, we are able to control the cancer in the late stages also. It becomes a disease like diabetes, which can be controlled but cannot be cured. So these kind of ignorance is also there. So there are multifactorial reasons why the cancer is being considered like a death sentence. Major factor in our country, maybe the society's mindset. And yeah, one more factor is the googling of the internet. That is something which is a double sword game. And I don't say that everything which is there on the Google is not correct, but it may mislead you in some ways. It's a double sword game. Everything is there is not correct. Anybody, you, me, any third person can write whatever they want on Google. It has no authentication. So you should be like smart enough or the intelligent enough that you should not just go on the Google. Like cancer diagnosis, who they start googling. They don't go to oncologist. They start googling the things कि कितना परसेंट उसमें सर्वाइवल है, कितना उसमें ट्रीटमेंट है. So all these things leads to the misconceptions and the maybe the distrust among the common people, and they affect you somewhere. It affects you.
Very true. It's the whole environment around the ignorance and lack of awareness that leads to such beliefs. And people are not at all aware, like what right now with such advancement, even the late stage, as you mentioned, even the late stage cancer patients are turning into survivors.
Yes,
So,
yes.
and leading a normal life as well.
Yeah, with good quality of life, with very less morbidity.
True,
So
true, very true.
very true. So, Poonam, at times, like these where we are living in, like life is too unpredictable. We have all lost so many of our loved ones in COVID, and one thing that we have learned as a society is that death can come to anyone without any prior notice. And even if you talk about accidents or anything, so death can happen because of n number of reasons. So why then do we have to associate only cancer with death? How can patients focus on improving their life quality rather than like thinking that they're facing death?
True. In fact, what you said, Megha, if we talk about COVID just being a virus and it can actually take your life. So, life actually is very fragile. Death is inevitable. Eventually, it would come to all of us someday in some form. Unfortunately, it's really painful for me to accept that. I don't know why do we associate cancer with death. I don't know. I mean, the whole point that I'm speaking today, and if I don't, who would? If not now, when would things change? That, I have to become the brand ambassador of hope. That, if I could fight this, and at the age of 25, and fortunately 10 years down the line, there were a lot of predictions that happened, and who told me what all would not be possible. I'll not have a second child, and infertility. So when I was diagnosed, my son was only 6 or 8 months, and I was still breastfeeding. And it was a very, very traumatic phase for all of us. Of course, I lost hope. I am just a human being like all of us, and I lost hope. But since I have believed that courage is the only key to life, and we have to practice it, since I believe that yes, death is inevitable, can come in any which form. There are so many organs in the body, so many different veins and arteries, all possible things happening, so many sepsis, so many shocks, so many things. You cannot actually do injustice to just cancer. There is definitely a hope. And I have actually fought a lot of people who said this, that you'll not have a baby. Fortunately, I had a girl after the entire chemotherapy happened. I became a mother again. I was in my ovulation period, and I could still become a mother, and by God's grace, and a lot of credit to my own self, that I've tried to maintain that that mindset throughout my journey, that I could endure the entire stuff. So fortunately, this is what people need to understand, that cancer is actually not death. And what Dr. Monisha has rightly said, there's a lot of difference in what facilities, or what stuffs or technologies were there when unfortunately our mothers or their mothers survived. So there's so much advancement. The only thing that needs to change is this kind of awareness what you are spreading through this platform. These kind of programs where you connect with the right people who actually give hope to somebody really helps. To maintain that balance of mind. And ultimately, it's all the game of mind. It's all what you believe. And unfortunately, of course, the disease does take a lot of lives. I cannot even be in denial that this is not a grave disease. But yes, there is a possibility. And what you rightly said, you board a plane and you can crash down into ashes on the ground. Anything is possible. So at least here we have enough time to, I always say, we have enough time to say goodbye. We have time to at least plan. We have time to, and that's a good amount of time. It is not like a road accident. It's
actually to take out the positivity of such a grave. It's not a grave disease, but like accidents or the plane crashes. In those cases, the death comes sudden to you. But when somebody is diagnosed with cancer, it's look like a slow poison to them. They are like, they are seeing the death coming to them, but it's not like that. Death is not coming to them. They are like, it's like a slow poison. So that is why the whole mind game started. They don't, first of all, it's just a state of denial, and it happens with everybody. Every patient who has been diagnosed with cancer, the state of denial is there. Maybe for one day, maybe for 5 minutes, maybe for 1 month. It happens with everybody. So it's the duty of the clinician and the family members to take that person out of that state of mind as soon as possible. Then the state of acceptance will come to them. It's again this thing of clinician, that in what manner, as an oncologist, as a surgeon, in what manner I am giving that diagnosis to my patient. Should I make them like very apprehensive or anxious, or should I give them in a slow bouts that no, you are being diagnosed with cancer, but the positive points are like this: 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes, cancer is cancer. Cancer, I have to call it as a cancer because it is a cancer, but the positive points is 1, 2, 3, 4. So make them realize that yes, you are diagnosed with cancer, and make them accept that also. It's a primary responsibility of clinician and then the family members, and then the whole that mind game can be taken care of. It's the whole responsibility of the family members, the friends, the society, and clinician, which I feel.
Very
Because
important.
your mind will get hurt up once you are diagnosed with cancer. It happens with
And it's
everyone.
very important as a society to change. And like
Yes.
if somebody is diagnosed with diabetes, they're not told every hour or every day that you have diabetes. But what
Exactly.
happens with cancer is like they're reminded n number of times by everyone they talk to that you have cancer and you are going to die. So as a
Cancer is,
society, we need to change this perspective. And Poonam very well
People are
said that
sorry for you, fortunately. They are very sorry for you, and that's something which I'm not ready to accept. I don't need that sympathy. See, it's a
exactly.
state. I understand that it is a bad disease, but having said that, any disease can progress into death, right?
Exactly.
At least allow me a chance to fight it back, and I'll exactly let you know when I need that sympathy. For now, I don't.
you need not to
So,
be
you
sympathetic
know,
towards them, you need to be empathetic towards them. Put yourself in
sure.
their shoes now and then advise them. Put yourself first in their shoes, what they are thinking of themselves at present. So you should give empathy, not sympathy, I think. So one should understand that they don't need your sympathy. They just need to be understood that what they are feeling at that point moment of time. So
True.
Very
that is
true.
the basic, this thing of society, the responsibility of the society.
Very true.
Very true.
And, as Poonam said, very rightly said, that it's the attitude that matters a lot. So my next question to Dr. Monisha is related to that only. That many a times two patients of similar ages and with the same diagnosis, degree of illness, and treatment program experience vastly different results. One of the few apparent differences is that one patient is pessimistic and the other optimistic. How do you think attitude impacts the prognosis?
We are seeing this scenario is very common. Mega, every cancer specialist must have experienced same disease, same kind of prognosis, same kind of treatment, but two different attitude. First of all, from the patient, and two different outcomes. Because being optimistic, being positive, being remain positive is the most factor during cancer treatment. Is the most factor. Whether you are undergoing a surgery or taking a chemotherapy or taking a radiation therapy, but you need to be positive. You have to have a self belief that yes, I will come out of it with flying colors. I will go on that side of the treatment and lead a second or maybe the another normal life of my choice. I'm going to complete my rest of the responsibilities of life, which I thought that I won't be able to do because just I've been diagnosed with cancer. So all kind of positive statements should be running in your mind. And if you ask me scientifically, yes, there are some studies which says that being positive, remaining positive during cancer treatment, it actually releases some positive chemicals in your body, which helps you fight against cancer, which increases your response rate to cancer treatment, which helps to decrease the side effects of cancer treatment. Because your positive energy, your positive chemicals will actually gives you a regenerative capacity to your body. So, for example, if somebody is undergoing chemotherapy, everybody knows that their hair fall is going to come. It's inevitable. But as a cancer surgeon, as a cancer specialist, we tell them that it's a temporary side effect. After stopping your chemotherapy, your hairs going to come back to you. After 2 months of chemotherapy, your hairs are going to come back. But सबके उस quality के hairs नहीं आते. They keep on like under depression. After even completing the chemotherapy, they go under depression. So they are like कि eyebrows अभी तक नहीं आए हैं, hairs अभी तक नहीं आए हैं. Just give that positive attitude and release those positive chemicals in your body. It has got a scientific evidence to that. So being positive, remaining positive, maybe because with the help of your family, friends, clinicians, and NGOs, survivor groups. Survivor groups are very important in that. We have a lot of survivor groups, separate groups for breast cancer survivors, separate for gynae cancer survivors, and they keep on discussing their problems on the group. मेरा कीमो चल रहा है, मुझे ये प्रॉब्लम फेस हो रहा है. सर्वाइवल विल एडवाइज देम कि आप ये करो तो आपको उससे आराम आएगा. So these kind of positive advices, these kind of positive attitude actually helps them to cope up the disease very well during treatment as well as after treatment. And it has got a positive impact, scientifically proven. So it is the society's responsibility, all of us' responsibility to remove that kind of stigma from the cancer patients.
Very true. At times in the survivor groups, the most positive thing is that the survivor is the patients are made to believe that they're not alone in it. So the whole thing of having similar experiences around definitely helps. And in the entire cancer journey, there's a very important role that family plays. It could be positive, it could be negative. So Poonam, at times what happens is even if the patient is trying to hold on to hope, the people around create such hue and cry about it that the patients end up feeling scared and anxious. So from relatives crying to friends asking inappropriate questions, it all happens. What is your take on this?
So see, I mean, unfortunately, Megha, we cannot control a lot of things that happens to us or that comes on a, way. We kind of have to understand where to limit the, the intervention of such kind of negative predictions. I have kind of made it a rule in my life that no predictions, even astrology or any intervention, is welcome if it is not in a way to empower me. I have kind of made it a belief system. So I would advise to all the fellow companions of mine in this journey who have been through it or who are still going through it, unfortunately, that please limit your interaction with people who ask you a lot of questions. One, that you are not the correct one to talk about it. As Dr. Monisha correctly pointed out, every diagnosis is different. Somebody with the same history would be different from mine, and the diagnosis would be different. The outcome would be different, and so many things. So just limit your I feel that you should kind of have a threshold after which you should not allow people to cross it and come and impact you in a way which would do negative harm to you in sense. But it does happen, Megha, yes. And there are certain people who you cannot even stop. So during that, practicing maybe meditation, connecting with support groups or people who are on your side of the story, or who are very inspirational or motivational or happy people, or looking forward to life in every which ways, you should try connecting with them rather than feeling gloomy. Unfortunately, these things happen. The only trick is that you cannot actually wait for life to get less difficult when you accept to be happy. So we have to learn from there, that just limit yourself to that Google, limit yourself to the people who are constantly honking negative stuffs and asking you questions. Make a ecosystem where you have your husband or your support system or your companion or your friends, that this is the only knowledge that I am wanting to welcome for right now, and otherwise please, I'm happy to fight this journey alone. The more you talk also, I sometimes feel that it bogs you down, because sometimes we say that sharing helps, but sharing with the right person, receiving the right content helps actually. So because everybody may not help you in the journey. So that's what.
Because even at both my parents are survivors. So even at the time of my mom's diagnosis, we used to tell the relatives before entering the house that please don't talk to her about cancer. Talk to her about anything you want to, like make her feel as normal as possible. Because at times, just continuously talking about cancer just like disturbs the patient more, because they're already going through the pain of being diagnosed with a disease that is going to change their life. And if we'll just kind of reminding them every single moment that yes, what has happened to them, it can never help. So
exactly my point, that we are so much other than the bad things that's happened to us. Exactly. There is so much, as you correctly introduced me. She's a artist, or she's a this, and why don't you talk to me about rest of the things what I get to the table? maybe if I have to talk in length, I'll talk to Dr. Monisha instead, who I understand that, who would understand that what is my journey and how can I benefit from there. So people and relatives, especially the ecosystem, they need to understand that we are not welcoming this topic. We will exactly let you know when we want to have your advice, or when we want to have your predictions in place, that this is the next that is going to happen, and now you will not have children, and now this is a fertility, and now that is there, and now you have 10 years to go and you have 3 years to go.
I think that everybody is ready to give you advice. Everybody is ready to help you, even if you don't ask for it, even if you don't need it, even if you just want to detach yourself for some time and be like in your own small world. They come and interview you, and then they're like, oh, matlab, they give you those kind of advices which you are like, yeah, okay, let me be out of it for some time. So let it be like this only, okay, whatever. But they are ready to give you on that, on top of it. So this happens because because I'm a surgeon, when I discharge my patients after surgery, like maybe on the 5th or the 6th day, and I advise them, like my advice on discharge is not just about the medications or the food habits or the maybe the sanitation and all this. I ask them specifically कि just अपने relatives को थोड़ा कम घर में रखना, ठीक है, इनका डाइट वगैरह सब हो जाएगा, इनका मेंटल हेल्थ आपको रखना है. डोंट अलाउ टू मेनी दिस थिंग रिलेटिव्स, not because people connection with them, it's because they will bring negativity with them. All of them will be ready with their stories, I'm sure. आएंगे, मिलने आएंगे, लेकिन आपका दिमाग खराब करके जाएंगे. एंड देन ये मत खाओ, ये मत पियो, ये गर्म है, ये ठंडा है, इससे टांके खराब हो जाएंगे, all those things. So when my patient got discharged on day 5, they are like positive. But when they come for their first follow-up visit, they are all like come with the negative thoughts. मैम वो ये बोल रहा था, मैम उसने ये एडवाइस किया. I will like stop listening to them, यार. Your physical health is in my hand. Your mental health needs, it's in your hand. It's your family, this thing. So don't allow too many relatives to come to you, not because they will bring infection with them. It's just they will definitely bring negativity with them, and it will just screw you down like that. So just come out of it with a fine, girls. Maybe 1 month or 2 months back, uske baad you will all will be fine. And you will start advising them कि ऐसा नहीं होता, सब कुछ खाना होता है, everything will become okay. But once like for those 1 or 2 months now, you just need to be like stay away from that negativity. But it's very tough. It's our society. It's very tough. I understand that.
True. But this is all about connecting to yourself, and I think we make a wonderful company with ourselves, and this is the time actually to reflect inside. It's good that I don't have to deal with so many people. There are not so many stakeholders on my head. It's time that I reconnect. Yes.
But people don't let you be, na? They start intriguing in your world कि नहीं आप ये मत करो, आप ये मत करो. They start that. So that becomes a
talk about small cities like in Delhi and Mumbai. Maybe people have still started being on their own and not too much being affected by relatives. But if you talk about small cities and villages, their things are even bad. Like there, it cannot even be avoided, and everybody is getting into everyone's house and these advices. And
they are more socially connected because they are more socially connected in smaller cities. In the bigger cities, we have our own world. But in smaller cities, they are like, मतलब you know कि एक मोहल्ले में सब लोग एक दूसरे को बहुत अच्छे से जानते हैं, because एक को भी कुछ होता है, everybody start like connecting with them. So, but you can't help it like to major extent.
They say now, so the मतलब कि before facing the actual death, you are actually dead by hearing so many things. Even before you've met death, you are already dead because of so many things that has been pushed to you. So it is unfortunate. My heart really calls out for people who are into domestic or the remote locations. We can still talk, communicate. The doctors have become so approachable. They are ready to talk to you in lengths. And initially, the oncologist would just come and diagnose you for your problem and would just write medicines. Right now, we are very fortunate in that we are in an age where the doctors want to counsel you, because it's all about a mental journey. So now people have become empathetic. My heart only calls out to the people who cannot, get hands-on to such a team of empathetic, team of survivors and doctors, because it's a cumulative journey. That's
And as
that's it.
The society is
we need
changing
to embrace this thing that
survival curiosities.
as a society, we need to embrace this thing that cancer is like any other disease. We need to downplay cancer. We need to believe
we,
that
we don't have diabetes survivors now. We don't have heart survivors, but we do have cancer survivors. And somehow I don't like the word survivor. It should be like maybe the
Oh my God,
cancer.
I thought that I'll make this a point to say, Dr. Monisha. I think when I first met Megha, I think I did tell Megha we were designing some poster for a show or something. I somehow do not like to call myself as a survivor. This is just a disease. Just a disease. See, the moment if we do not bring about this change, then
The word of
why this
survival.
taboo?
You are
Yes.
surviving. No, you are not surviving. You are living. You are living a life. You are not just surviving. So there should not be like a cancer survivor. It should be it should be nothing actually. It should be nothing. Once you are like maybe diagnosed with malaria and got treated, one who has been diagnosed with typhoid or maybe the COVID up, we don't call it like a COVID survivor. We don't call it like a COVID worker. No? So why should we do that? For a cancer patient, we should not label them anything. They should be a normal person and their life is normal.
Yes.
It should be start with our own mind actually.
I really hope that everybody listens to this and imbibe this, because as a society, it is very, very important to understand these things, because knowingly, unknowingly, we affect the patients by talking about things that they don't want to hear.
Yeah.
True. Very true.
So, as we conclude, what message would you like to share with the patients who are recently diagnosed and are feeling that the hopelessness and around it?
Patients do come to my OPD or clinic with a recently diagnosed, maybe with a biopsy report or an MRI report, and they start looking on my face, and I start looking in their eyes, and somehow their eyes becomes wet. Even if before I start saying anything, their eyes becomes wet because they have come with a biopsy report saying that it's a cancer. So first of all, it's always like I just give them a glass of water, just give them 5 minutes to settle down, maybe just wipe out their tears, and then I start कि क्या हुआ है, कैंसर ही तो हुआ है, कैंसर हुआ है ना, it's like हाँ कैंसर हुआ है, मैंने कहा तो कैंसर ही तो हुआ है, like MRI मैंने देखा है, or like it's a stage 1 disease. Why you need to worry in stage 1 disease? It's 100% curable. It will need not a small surgery, it will need an extensive surgery, maybe supplemented with chemo or radiation later on, and it's a long treatment, maybe a 2-3 months treatment, but ultimately it's going to cure. So what's the point of this thing? Agar malaria या typhoid आता उसका भी तो आप treatment लेते, diabetes आता, that's like everybody knows that it's not going to be cured, it's just to be controlled. So diabetes भी तो आपको कभी diagnosed हुआ ही है ना, hypertension भी diagnosed होता है, and you keep on taking medicines and insulins for them, and all of us knows the long-term side effects of being a diabetic patient. All of us knows that, no? So but still we accept that very nicely. But yes, cancer का diagnose accept करना, it takes time. It takes maybe 1 day for somebody or maybe few days for someone else, and it's a huge responsibility for the family and the critical condition that only the positive side of the things to be conveyed to them. Not talking to them is not a solution, because everybody has got a sixth sense. अगर आप उनको बाहर बिठा दोगे कि मम्मी आप बाहर बैठो मैं बात करता हूँ, या आप किसी को बोलोगे कि इनको मत बताना, everybody has got a sixth sense कि हमें कैंसर डिपार्टमेंट में क्यों लेकर आए हैं, हमारा सर्जरी क्यों हो रहा है, हमारा कीमो क्यों हो रहा है. So ultimately they know. So making them informed actually decreases their apprehensions and anxiety, but that should be done in a very positive way, starting from the clinician, to be continued by the family, the friends. They should be always surrounded by the positive, as Poonam has said, that only the positive people should be allowed to surround you during those times. Because once you go through that time, that 1, 2, or maybe 3 months, and when you reach on the other side of the story, then you start advising the other people in a positive way. So if today, if Poonam is advising somebody, some cancer patient in a positive way, it is just because her experience during the cancer treatment had been positive. Had been it a negative experience for her in that time, she won't be able to advise anybody or motivate anybody in the future. So just make it a point to make that experience, the treatment part, wala part, be a positive for the patient, and it's a responsibility of all of us, not only just the patient or the family. It's responsibility of the society, the treating clinician, maybe to enroll the patient in the survivor groups, to meet that patient to other survivors or the cancer patients, I will call, those who can motivate her that yes, there is another side of the story, and you are soon going to reach that story. So that actually helps them in a very positive way, helps them to fight the cancer, helps them to like cope up with the side effect of the cancer treatments, and it's very important. And we are fortunate that in Delhi or maybe the metropolitan cities, we have such NGOs. We have Sashakt Foundation, Bliss Foundations, all other foundations who are coming up with these kind of projects or the programs, the survivor programs, maybe for the breast cancer patients, ovarian cancer patients. And we should enroll more and more patients in that thing. And please don't label the patients as survivors. No, cancer hua tha, khatam ho gaya. Now they are living their normal life and they are living their life. They are not surviving their life. So that is my message to them. Just keep that positivity during treatment. Treatment to hona hi hai. And always have a hope that yes, with this treatment which my oncologists have advised to me, I will come out of it. So self-belief देना बहुत important होता है. Actually help them. And later on they will motivate the other patients with double motivation. So slowly and slowly we will build up that kind of society. So it starts with one people multiplying in a fashion, and ultimately the society changes. So we are the society actually.
Very true.
Yes.
Yeah, because Dr. Monisha has already covered all the important points, so I'll wrap it up very quickly. Anybody and everybody who's listening to me, through Megha's Sashakt platform, I would just want to apprise you. There's just one single request. Please start celebrating life. And when I was diagnosed with cancer, that is the moment when I realized that you actually don't have one life, you actually have two lives. And the other life actually begins when you realize that you just have one life. So that was my realization at the age of 25. And I feel that I'm a profound human being. And what I get to my family, what I get to my children, what I get to my office is a different horizon altogether. Please understand that I have always personally celebrated cancer because cancer has actually changed my life and the way I look at things. I do not waste my time. I have understood that time is money, and this is what we need to invest on. This is the time that we have to believe and celebrate and feel empowered. So my only message is, do not wait for times to get easier. Life will always be difficult. Cancer, no cancer, life is always going to be difficult. There'll be so many situations thrown on you. Please have the courage and have that hope and faith in your caregivers, your doctors, your families, and for the people who want for you to get. And overall, please love yourself, love your life, and please stay connected with platforms like Sashakt. Thank you so much. That's it.
That was so inspiring. Thank you so much, Poonam and Dr. Monisha, for this insightful discussion. I'm sure our listeners are going back with changed perspectives. I hope that we as a society downplay cancer and cancer is no longer considered as death sentence. On this note, it's me, Megha Ahuja, signing off for the day. Take care and stay Sashakt.